Hello, everyone, and welcome to the T776 rental statement webinar from TaxCycle. My name is Parminder Kaur, and I'm a community success specialist at TaxCycle. So I will be walking you through the whole process that how you can create T776 forms. So what we are going to talk about today, we will talk about creating the T776 form set, whether or not your client is co-owner or partner. Make sure you select the right stuff. When to create one or multiple T776s, how to allocate a share to the spouse, how to enter foreign rental property and claim personal share of the expenses and import some data from Excel. If you want to try that, you can do that as well. And a couple of tips related to CCA, and finally, hopefully at the end, smart copy paste to T776 into another partner's return. First thing you will see is right now we are on the T1 return for John Smith, and this is T776. This is the T776 that I have prepared already, but we are going to create a new T776. But before that, once you have created a T776, you will see that all the related forms to that appear. That is asset summary, or CCA claim, 2-year comparative summary, or 5-year summary as well. So let's create T776. So from the sidebar, you can see the form with form icon with the green plus sign. That means you can create that particular new form. So once we click on that, you will see that on the side we have T776 statement of real estate rentals. And here you can see that we can enter the fiscal period. So as soon as I enter the fiscal period for this, and as soon as I enter on here, you see that first thing is that the year end has been already appeared, and also on the sidebar here, all the related forms has been appeared as well. Another thing I would like to mention in here that could be handy, that you can choose closing a rental operation from this drop down if that's your closing rental operation. So you can choose it, and then this field will be editable, so you can type in the date that you want. And also on the right side, this question, was this the final year of your rental operation, that will be automatically marked as yes. So let's go back to December 31 year end, and we are good with this. So something to bear in mind if you are new to preparing rental statements is just to make sure that you know when you need to do a rental statement versus a business statement. In most cases, if you're earning income from your property and you rent the space out and provide only basic services like changing the linen afterwards, or you have an Airbnb where you are just renting that out and make sure the property is clean. So all that you need is a rental statement for that. But if you are offering more services like beds and breakfast, feeding the clients, doing their laundry, things like that, you may be running a business instead. And so you need to make your professional judgment there and make sure that you are choosing the right form for your client, because if they're running a business, they probably need to be using T2125. So now next one is part number T2. There we have an option to choose if there is any co-owner of the property. This is where we choose that the information about the other people who owns the property, that might be co-owner, or if this is a partnership, you can choose it accordingly. So let's click on co-owner here, and as soon as we do that, we do have another option on the right side, that if Mavis as a partner or a co-owner. So Mavis is a spouse of John. So from the left side bar here, we can see that from the drop down menu that John is a principal taxpayer and Mavis is his spouse, and then James Mabelot is all of their they are their children's. So we can include here that Mavis is a co-owner, and as soon as I click on that, you will see that Mavis information has been appeared automatically because we already have her return in within this file. And then we can put in the percentage here, that how much share she owns, let's say 50%. And then if I want, I can also add more co-owners or the partners in here as well. But before that, I want to actually mention you that if you press F5, that will take you to the Mavis return, and here you can see Mavis return as a main, and then you can see as a John as a co-owner in here and with the percentage. So let's hit F5 again. And if I want, if there is another person here, we need to add an as a co-owner or a partner, we can do that. Let's say if that's their children, his son James. Let's put his name in here, Smith and James. That might be a property they got it when he was in university, and they might want to give it some of the equity from it. So this is how you will allocate, and he will get some of the equity from this property. So you can set up other partners as well here, and I am going to show you how you can share that statement at the end of it once we have completed with smart copy paste, because this, whatever the information that we will have here, that will not be automatically shared with James. I will show you how we can do that. This is, we are back to the part number 3. That's the income section, and I have put some of the information. We will get to that. But before that, I just want to mention that this is where you enter the address of the property. Sometimes we get a question of whether you should put all the properties on one T776 or make separate T776 for each of the properties. Now, it's kind of depends on what's going on there and how the landlord of the property is managing the expenses. So say you have 2 properties in the same city and the person isn't tracking the expenses of maintaining those properties separately. So you could list both of those properties here on the same worksheet so that the expenses get split out. However, it might be easier to separate them. I find that's a little bit easier in many cases. So what you want to make sure is that if you're combining the properties in the same jurisdiction, then you can do that on one. But you don't want to put a foreign property and a domestic property on the same T776, because it will make it way too confusing for you. So I have already entered the address as you all were in polling, answering the polling question. So I have entered this address for the property, and let's say they have a number of unit as 4, and then a gross rent they have got as 34,000 in Canadian. And as soon as I fill that in, I will get another field that I can enter more properties or the list of the properties in here if I want to. Now, before I get much further than this, I want to talk briefly about the properties outside of Canada. So for that, let's create another T776. So we will get to the sidebar on the left, and we will click on T776 with the plus sign. And then on the part number 2, that's where you will see the property outside section. And this is where you will enter the currency. Let's say I have a property in USA. In Phoenix as a vacation property, so currency as USD. And as soon as I hit enter, I will get exchange rate, and this is where I can put foreign tax paid if there is any I have paid. So let's keep that as it is, and then I can enter the foreign country name. This might be a question that you will get in polling, so I would say that you pay attention to that. All right, so next is that we have entered the foreign country name, and this is the area now again where we can enter the address of the property that we have in USA, Phoenix. So let's enter that. Let's say this is the address, north, and then city, maybe Phoenix, and then Arizona. Now, here is a great thing that again I want to mention about postal code. So these postal codes are set as or are formatted to support the Canadian format of postal codes, but in US that's numbered postal code. So I want to do what's called a format override or a format mask. So if I right click on this field, you will see that there is an option mask override, which is with which you can see that also there is a keyboard shortcut. You can use Control plus F2. So as soon as I click on that and I fill in any number here, and you will see that I did not get any review message or error for that. And then we can enter the country here and number of units, let's say 2. And now here is the foreign where we can enter the gross rent in USD. Let's say it's 24,000, and we will get the gross rent in Canadian at the top on the right side. So this is really handy and this is very fast. Another thing I would like to mention in here is that this is the expenses table, where you will see there is one main difference between the domestic T776 and also the other compared to the foreign one, is that there is this foreign column where, for example, if I enter here 2000, let's say I have paid insurance of 2000, so I will be able to get the conversion on the right side, which is very helpful. So if I go to the T776 for the Calgary, you can see that there is no other column like a foreign, and there is just directly the expenses. So that's what I wanted to show you. And another thing I would like to mention here, let's go back to Calgary T776, and you can see the name as well, that which address or the property is it is. That if you want to export or if you like any other T2125 income statement, if I want, I can create Excel spreadsheet. If I go under the data tab at the top here, there I can see that Excel import, and then if I want, I can create Excel template from here. So if I click on this, it will ask me that where I want to save it. If I want, I can just select the one that I have. If I want to replace it, so let's just say yes. Because I already saved it when I was preparing the demo file. So let's open this template for you, and I would just want to show you that how it looks like. This is how it will look like, and also this is the field codes that can help you, and then also there is the data column, and then a bit of information to help you get this all together. But if you want to spend a little bit of work and prep a spreadsheet for your client, you could actually help them prepare this and make your entry of expenses really easy. Now, if you want to actually import the Excel spreadsheet that you have already, you can just simply go to data and then Excel import, and then click on import Excel worksheet. And then from there, you can select the spreadsheet, and then it will import all that data for you. And if you are more interested in Excel, if you're interested in Excel import, that how it works and how you can create all of the spreadsheets, please watch for the link that we will provide at the end to this webinar that is related to the Excel import. So once I import the Excel worksheet, this will be just a really quick way for me to get some of the expenses in T776. That's super easy. So I'm going to open the one that I have already prepared for you, and this is how it will look like once you have all your expenses ready, or once you have imported. This is how it will look like. Okay, so one of the things that came in here is that I can set a personal percentage portion. So if this is a 2-unit property, which it is, so I have mentioned it as a 2-unit property. Let's just say the taxpayer living in a 1 unit and the other unit is rented out. So I can put the full expenses for the insurance. Let's say I have put 2,000, and then for example, then there is this personal percentage in this column as 50%. You can see that half is split out for a personal. So it will calculate the expenses that applies to the rental statement. And now if you have a type of expenses that does not apply or does not have a personal percent portion in it, this will follow the column to the apply column. And then you can just mention no. Don't claim a personal portion of the advertising expenses, for example, because why would you do that, right? because you won't advertise to yourself. Now, motor vehicle expenses, of course, are not entered directly on this worksheet. They're entered on the motor vehicle worksheet. And we recently had that webinar. If you want to watch it, it is available on our website under webinar recordings. But the basics of what you need to do after you have completed this worksheet is to make sure you allocated some of the kilometers driven in that year to the kilometer driven on that vehicle during the year to the applicable rental statement. So in this case, maybe they drove 2,000 kilometers. So we will go to the motor vehicle worksheet here, and we will type in 2,000 because we are working on this T776 356 Main Street, that rental worksheet. So we will put in 2,000 in here. So let's go back to our rental worksheet here, and you can see that the data flow nicely into here. And finally, before that, actually, today I figured that out, and I would like to mention that that if you have a co-owner as your spouse, client spouse, then that data, because it's being shared between both the returns. That's why if you have these return here mentioned as a co-owner, then you will be able to see that amount in here. But as soon as I put partner here, like any other that with that, the information is not being shared both ways, it will not show you the cost in there. So let me put in here Smith and James, as we did last time. Oops, what happened to my typing today? And if I want to give him 5% again, so you will see that the motor vehicle expenses is not here. Instead, it is shown in here. Just because the information or the data that we have in here, the total data is not being shared with James Smith a return directly. So that's the reason that it will show you any of the motor vehicle expenses under the other deductible expenses you have as a co-owner, which you did not deduct elsewhere. So it will show under there. Just in case you put in any other partner and you figure that why I'm not able to see that. Okay, so another thing I want to mention, the CCA, of course, in the property, you need to enter that on the asset worksheet. So let's open the here. So you would like to enter the description, a class from here, all of that you would like to mention, and you will want, of course, to do one CCA item for each building, even if there are two worksheets. And just to note, we don't share the CCA tables with Cone T776 statements. So you want to divide that in half and enter the T776 asset form on each spouse. There are a bunch of help topics related to CCA on our website, and I would encourage you to look into those. And there is this immediate expense T1 help topic that has been added for your additional support. I just wanted to mention that just in case if you're looking for that. And the last thing I just want to quickly mention the smart copy paste. So we do have a James Smith with which this information is not being shared, this T776. So what we need to do is we can go to home page. We are in the correct rental statement, and then under home you can see there is a smart copy. You can click copy T776 here, or you can right click or click smart copy, or you can use the keyboard shortcuts as well. And then as soon as we do that, we're going to go back to James return, and then we will hit F4 T776. And once we have opened that form, we would like to paste in here, and you will see all that information or all the expenses has been entered automatically here. There are a few things, there are just a few things that we need to mention, that how this is being distributed, corner, or there are some things that you may want to look into and fix it or enter it, but it saves me a lot of time in re-entering all those expenses. All right, so we have reached to the end here, and I would like to mention that we have a TaxCycle resource page where you can go and type in about the T776. If you want to know about the Excel import, you can just simply type the keywords. And for the real estate rentals, you can just type those keywords. And also for the immediate expensing of CCA T1. If you want to know about these topics, you can just simply type in and you will be able to get all the resources related to that. And whatever we have covered today, it will be all, you will be able to see all of that on our help topics as well. All right, I would like to thank you all for joining us today and wishing you a good tax season. And thanks a lot, Christian, as well, for helping out behind the scenes.